High above the city of Annaba, inside the Basilica of St. Augustine, a rare moment is unfolding. A Catholic Mass to install the country's newest bishop. And for Algeria's small Christian community, this is a joyful and significant occasion. As Miguel Guiu steps forward, he is officially appointed Bishop of Constantine, one of the main cities in the country. Algeria is a Muslim-majority country, and among the congregation today are Muslim imams, a positive sign of dialogue and coexistence. But just outside the basilica, police officers stand watch. The government says there is full religious freedom here. Still, the security presence is a reminder that Christian life in Algeria comes with conditions, something we'll see throughout this program. Welcome to Annaba in Algeria. While I'm standing here in the middle of these ancient ruins of the city of Hippo Regius, where St. Augustine was the bishop and where he died in the 5th century. And on the hill behind me, that's the modern-day Basilica of St. Augustine from the late 19th, early 20th century. The story of the Christian faith here is a fascinating one, from a once thriving Christian centre to today a Muslim country. So what's the small Catholic Church like here today? And what are the challenges that it faces? In this documentary, I travel across Algeria and learn about the decade of terror inflicted on the people and the religious who paid the ultimate price.
30 years ago, Monsignor Pierre Claverie was killed. And here we see the sign of the bomb.
I meet the bishops and clergy who are serving here today.
Some asked me, what have you done to be appointed to go to Algeria?
I visit mosques and meet some of the country's Muslim imams and ask them about others who have more hostile feelings towards Christians.
Parasites exist. Wherever you go, you find people who create noise.
And I meet one young man who converted from Islam to Christianity and is brave enough to talk about it on camera.
No, I cannot regret. It's a grace from God. I cannot refuse the grace of God.
We film all this while showing you the sensitivities of recording in this society. This is Christianity in Algeria. Annaba sits on Algeria's northeastern coast along the Mediterranean, a port city shaped by centuries of trade, conquest and religion. Known in antiquity as Hippo Regius, this was once one of the most important cities in Roman North Africa. Today, it is a bustling city with busy markets, cafes and shops, and an interesting mix of Muslims who dress in a more Western style and those who wear the full burqa. But beneath its streets and on the hills above are the signs of a very different past. In the ruins of the ancient city of Hippo Regius, I'm meeting Khalil Azouni, the director of this archaeological site.
We are now in one of the oldest cities in North Africa, one of the most important ancient cities in North Africa. It was a major city that played a huge role politically, economically, and even religiously.
Christianity arrived here at the end of the 2nd century and became so deeply rooted, it went on to become one of the most important Christian sites of the Roman Empire. And of all the people who lived here over the centuries, one has left the greatest mark on history.
During the Christian period, Hippo became known for an important figure whose influence continues to this very day, not only here in Algerian society, but all over the world, St. Augustine.
St. Augustine was the Bishop of Hippo from the year 396 AD until 430 AD, and this is where he prayed and celebrated Mass in this very basilica, standing on the same tiles and touching the same pillars.
القديس أغسطين أعطى الكثير لمدينة هيبون.
Most of Augustine's writings were composed here in the Basilica of Peace, Pax Basilica, which, as you can see, many of its architectural elements still exist and are preserved to this day.
على غرار
And still today, Algerian universities place such importance on this site, and excavations are still underway to search for many of the structures mentioned by Augustine, but that we no longer see in the ruins today.
لبولونجري أو المخابز في تلك الفترة.
Augustine died in 430 AD as Hippo was besieged by the Vandals, but his legacy here endured, and in the late 19th century this hilltop basilica was built in tribute to the bishop whose writings shaped Christianity. And today, the basilica is still under the care of the Augustinian order. Father Fred Wikasa is the director of the basilica.
Very fine. You are welcome, Colm.
It's great to be here.
Yes, you are
What
welcome.
a beautiful view across Annaba.
Yes. This basilica is strategically put here so that at least all the views when you climb up, you can have the view of the Annaba.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And can we take a look inside?
Yes. Yeah,
Fantastic.
you can come in. Yes. Yeah. This basilica was built some times back, and it dates from 1881 to 1900. So it was built in order just to help the pilgrims who are coming through here to go to Jerusalem, because in the 19th century, in the late 19th century, there were some pilgrims who were coming from Europe to go to Jerusalem, and when they passed through Hippo, which is Annaba now, there was no church. So it was built for these pilgrims who are passing by so that they have a place to worship. This is the Basilica of St. Augustine.
Inside, the basilica blends European design with North African light. Stone pillars line the nave, while stained glass windows tell the story of Augustine's life, his conversion, and his faith. There are 3 Augustinians based here today. One is from South Sudan, one is from Nigeria, and Father Wikasa is from Kenya. It's a common theme here in Algeria, a church of missionaries. And in a place that was once a center for Christianity, it is now hard to find an Algerian priest. Are there any young men entering the seminary today here in Algeria, going for the priesthood?
Generally, the situation is that 98% of the population is Islam. Yeah, they are Muslims. So that one only is enough factor not to have enough vocations in our church. Yeah. So it's just because of the dominant religion is Islam, then therefore, yeah, vocation is very hard.
Conversions to Christianity here are rare, but from time to time they do happen. But those who do convert are reluctant to talk publicly about their story for many different reasons. Some say that if others know they have become Christian, they will face a social stigma and shame that could affect their work and family life. To learn more about the relations between Muslims and the small minority of Christians here, I'm going to visit a local mosque. Kayla is the imam of this mosque, and in fact he was one of the attendees at the ordination mass of Bishop Giyu just yesterday. There were a number of Muslims there who came for the service but left before the consecration during the mass. Imam, can you tell me a bit about this mosque here?
Welcome to this place, a place dedicated fully to religion and worship. This place is called Sidi Abu Marwan al-Sharif Mosque in the old city of Annaba in eastern Algeria.
What is incredible about this mosque is that it was once a small house where St. Augustine would stay and later became a Christian temple from which the pillars still remain today.
When Christianity was here, we found that St. Augustine had a retreat, a hermitage or a small house in this very place. Then, when the Islamic conquest took place, Islam entered and people learned the Arabic language and the Islamic religion. What is beautiful is that this place embodies the continuing dialogue between people of different faiths.
فبنوا الرباط والجميل أيضا في هذه.
As we mentioned before, even St. Augustine passed through this site, either for a retreat or to live here. And I think this is something beautiful. I believe people should embrace these divine, human, and universal values as an example so that they can live together in peace.
Imam Kela says this mosque stands as an example of dialogue between Christianity and Islam. But I'm curious if this is the attitude of Muslims in general in Algeria, and so we sit down to talk about it further. And this talk of harmony and interreligious dialogue, is this your approach specifically? Or would this view be shared with your brother imams across Algeria and the Muslim population at large?
Well, everything depends on the person. If a person is educated and understands his faith with knowledge and conviction, then dialogue between people of different religions becomes easy. If a person is not educated in their faith, then emotions can take over and he may become angry or become fanatical. And this ruins dialogue between people. Because dialogue should be between the people, the followers of different religions, not between the religions themselves.
But Imam Kela tells me that he believes tolerance does exist here in Algeria, and the lasting legacy of St. Augustine, a Catholic saint, is proof of that.
St. Augustine is an authority of the Catholic faith. And as you saw, his presence here is still visible. His church still stands, and his relics are buried in the basilica, and people visit. That's the best proof of the dialogue between the two religions here in this city. And what's even more beautiful is that whenever there is a religious event, both sides visit each other. For example, recently we attended the installation ceremony of the Bishop of Constantine, and 1/3 of those present were Muslim imams and representatives of religious affairs in the country.
The coexistence is visible here, the Bishop's Mass being a sign of it. But Imam Kela also points out that attitudes can differ from place to place in Algeria. In urban areas like Annaba, you may find more progressive, liberal Muslims, but in more rural areas, that may not be the case. There are reports of Islamic fundamentalist groups operating in small pockets in some of the desert regions of Algeria and along the border.
The environment also plays a role. When we live in a beautiful place like Annaba, a coastal city with mountains behind it and a mild climate, this affects the people. They become calm, and when they are calm, they become tolerant of others.
You mentioned before the interview that there are some pockets in Algerian society of what we would call fundamentalism or extremists in Islam. Is that a problem here? Is it something that's growing, or how do you see it?
Parasites exist. Wherever you go, you find people who create noise. The source of this disruption is satanic, because people should gather for good, for worshiping God and spreading virtue. And the biggest enemy of this is Satan. But this is human nature. Every society has disruptive elements.
The government has worked hard to eradicate extremist groups and are determined to prevent them from rising up again. Perhaps one of the reasons religion is monitored so closely here in the country. The installation of a new bishop here in Algeria made headlines around the world, especially with a renewed focus on Algeria and St. Augustine, given our new Augustinian Pope, Pope Leo XIV. But who is Miguel Guiu, Algeria's newest bishop? And what kind of Catholic church will he be helping to lead? To find out, I've made an appointment to meet him and make the 2-hour drive from Annaba to the city of Constantine, one of the most dramatic and historic cities in the country. Often called the City of Bridges, it is linked by a series of striking bridges that leap across its valleys, giving the city a distinctive skyline. This city too has a history going back 2,000 years, from its time as the Roman Christian city of Sirta to its role today as a centre of Islamic studies. And it is also home to the stunning Emir Abdelkader Mosque, which was built in the 70s and 80s and finally opened in the 90s. A striking structure piercing the sky. This mosque is absolutely enormous. In fact, it's the 3rd largest in all of Africa, and it was built post-independence by the president, who wanted it to serve as a clear indicator and marker of the country's heritage, culture, and their new identity, and also as a bridge, a link between faith and science and learning, because this mosque is also partnered with one of the most prestigious Islamic universities in all of Africa. And this city of Constantine is where the newly ordained Bishop Miguel Guillou is based. He is originally from Lyon in France, and he first arrived in Algeria in 2006, after the country had suffered terribly in the 90s. What are the challenges of ministering in a place like this?
Maybe sometimes Algeria has still an image a bit difficult because what happened in the 90s. And some people are afraid to come, but it was not my case. Even if some asked me, what have you done to be appointed to go to Algeria? I had done nothing. I'm very happy to come.
Bishop Miguel Guillou has been in Algeria for 20 years and knows well what the life of the Christian church is like.
We are a small number. There is at least 100 kilometers between every parishes. So you know, when we live far from one from the other, we're always very happy to meet the other. Sometimes most of the faithful are students from sub-Saharan Africa who have scholarship from the Algerian government, and the Algerian government doesn't ask what is your religion.
As the country of Algeria is so large, the largest in Africa, what makes it even harder for Catholics to practice their faith is just how spread out they are.
In some of these places, we have no priests, resident priests. For instance, in Béjaïa, maybe there are 30 or 40 Christians. Usually, they have Mass twice a month.
Twice a month?
Twice a month. But I told them, Christian community doesn't start with the presence of a priest. A Christian community starts with the presence of Christians. Yeah. If there is a priest, alhamdulillah, thanks be to God. But if there is no priest, well, the community can meet, share on the Word of God, organize itself. We are lucky to be in a country who respects the faith and the conscience of the people. It's among Muslim countries, it's not so frequent. Of course, he has to be discreet, not to make scandal. Of course, no proselytism. And they know that we did not come for this and for people to enter the church, not at all. We are not here to preach the gospel to the people through the words and to disturb people. We are here maybe for two aims: to support the Christians who are here, but also to build bridges of fraternity between Muslims and Christians.
This is something that I heard repeatedly while being in Algeria. The church here is quick to point out that they do not see their mission here to convert or evangelize. In fact, on the contrary. And when an Algerian does want to convert, it can be very difficult for them. You mentioned there is acceptance on behalf of the government that if an Algerian wants to become a Christian or any religion, that they have this freedom, which is wonderful. But in reality, in terms of the general public, how do they perceive it when someone becomes a Christian?
It's very difficult to accept it, of course. But as it is, if your brother or sister was becoming to another member of another religion, even if you are convinced that every people is free, even if you, it would be very difficult for you. I think for me it would be.
We had identified a number of people who were Muslim and converted to Christianity. We reached out and requested for them to do interviews. They declined. We offered that they could speak without showing their face, but still they said they wouldn't feel comfortable. But one young man did agree, who we will meet in another city. We are travelling now to the city of Oran, Algeria's second largest city. Shaped by centuries of Spanish, Ottoman and French influence, the city blends grand colonial boulevards with lively cafes and seaside promenades. The city's most visible Christian landmark today is the Cathedral of the Sacred Heart, built in the early 20th century and now used as a public Muslim library. But the strongest reminder of the city's Christian past stands tall above the city, the statue of Our Lady of Santa Cruz. The view up here is absolutely incredible at the Chapel of Santa Cruz, built on the hilltop overlooking the city of Oran and the Mediterranean Sea. It was built in the 19th century by the French as a symbol of their faith. Now, after Algeria gained independence and the French left, most of the Catholic community left as well. But this monument and Our Lady still remains here today as a testament and a symbol of hope for the Christians still living here. And back down in the bustling port city, you'll find something unusual in Algeria, a convent of sisters. And again, while on the grounds of the convent to interview the sisters, you'll see that the plainclothes police officers accompanied us inside the grounds. They stood close by while we were recording and stayed with us the entire time. Again, they claim it is for our protection. This convent is run by the Little Sisters of the Poor, who work hard to provide love and care to those who feel abandoned and neglected by society, especially the sick and the elderly. Sister Francina is one of the sisters working here.
We have 55 old people, ladies and men, and we try to give our time for them, listen to them. Sometimes they feel so neglected.
Sister Francina tells me that, of course, the people who come here are mainly Muslim, so the sisters sensitively talk with them about God in their final moments. And as well as having their chapel here, they even have a small mosque, not inside the convent building, but inside the walls of the convent, in the garden.
In Algeria, it's one different thing. So it's not like Europe, so that we can speak about Jesus to them, but we do little charity which helps them to come close to God.
What's the most beautiful thing about the work that you do?
Being with the old people is like being with my grandparents. So I've been far from my grandparents. I see them, Jesus, as also my grandparents.
So you see your grandparents through these people you serve?
To these people, and I do it with great love.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's wonderful.
It was wonderful to see the work of the sisters here, who operate within the reality of the country they are in. We left the convent, again with the plainclothes police officers accompanying us. They were also present when we recorded on the streets and came with us to the various locations we visited for our different interviews. And it's important to point out that they didn't interfere at any stage and were pleasant and friendly to myself and the entire team. They said that as we are a foreign TV crew, they want to ensure our safety and that everything goes smoothly for our visit to Algeria. But this is the same treatment that the bishops in the Catholic Church often get here. And some I spoke to said that they believe it is more about monitoring and watching than it is about their protection. And perhaps both can be true, because it was also pointed out to me that after a decade of bloody violence in the 90s at the hands of religious extremists, the government now wants to take no chances. And so high-profile people connected with religion are guarded and also watched.
Oh, they locked it?
No, it's not locked.
While in the city of Oran, I went to visit the bishop, Bishop David Carrero. Originally from Italy, he too has been here for around 15 years. And being the bishop here in Oran is symbolic of resilience for the church in Algeria, as it was here, on these very steps, that his predecessor, Bishop Pierre Clavier, a French Dominican who served as Bishop of Oran, was assassinated on the 1st of August 1996.
For us, it's a very meaningful place because it's the place where 30 years ago, Monsignor Pierre Claverie, was killed. And here we see the sign of the bomb that killed him.
And inside the church, I'm shown his grave. His murder happened during Algeria's brutal civil war of the 1990s, a period marked by widespread violence between the state and Islamic extremists. His assassination was part of a campaign targeting foreigners, intellectuals, and religious figures who were seen as symbols of dialogue, of openness, and Western influence. Bishop Claverie was targeted because he chose to remain in Oran when many others left, openly advocating for peace and Christian-Muslim friendship. And now, Bishop David Carrero has taken his place.
What was your first impression when you first came to Algeria?
My first impression was a welcoming country. I can make also an example. When I went to Touggourt, I moved from the airport of Algiers to Touggourt by bus. And when I reached Touggourt, I forgot my wallet in the bus. So I told to the bus station that my wallet was in the bus. And the following day, I met the driver at 10 o'clock because they told me to come back at 10 o'clock in the morning. The driver gave to me back the wallet. My money was there. And when I want to give him something just to say thank you, he refused. He told me, if you want to say thank you to me next time, take the same bus. So this is the welcome that I received the first day that I reached Algeria.
It's amazing how a first impression can last.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Here in the Diocese of Oran, there are 10 million people, of which only about 300 are Christian.
What are the challenges being such a minority in the country?
On a practical level, to be a minority, it means to be, from my point of view, to be a church that is listening. It invites us to grow in the attitude of simplicity. It helps us to go deeper in our faith. Some questions that the population that is here, that is Muslim, are posing, are asking. I will not have the same question in Europe, saying why you are Christians, why you don't want to become Muslim, what is the Trinity, why in your church there are statues, and so on. Help us to go deeper in our faith. I am a bishop, not just for 300 persons, but for the 10 million of persons of the diocese.
It's interesting, so you see yourself as the bishop, not just for the Christian community, but for all of the 10 million people here in your diocese.
Yes, and when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that I want to convert the 10 millions of persons that are there. I feel that they are close to us, and if the city, the population have some needs, human needs, social needs, we have to respond as much as we can.
It's a delicate balancing act, the Catholic Church reaching out to help in society without seeming like it's trying to evangelize or convert. And I have noticed that many young Muslims are coming to the Catholic Church out of curiosity. For example, after we had finished filming with the bishop in Constantine, he brought me to their local church. And outside, I got talking to some young guys who were hanging out on the grounds of the church.
And you're both Muslims?
Yes, yeah, of course. We are both Muslims.
Yeah. Practicing?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And
not that much.
Not that much. Why do you say that?
Because sometimes you must pray, sometimes not, sometimes, life.
So what are you doing here in the Christian church?
We were celebrating of the International Day of Immigration.
As we're talking,
yeah,
I hear the call to prayer has just started from a mosque.
Mosque,
yeah. We call it the Adhan.
Adhan.
Yes, the Adhan.
At this time of the day.
It's Maghrib.
Okay, I see.
Maghrib.
And is it unusual for young Muslim men to be here in the church and the grounds?
No, we have no problem. Because we share love, we share respect, we share everything. Because you're a human, I'm a human, he's a human, he's a human. You have no problem.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
We live the same life.
Yeah.
We must respect each other, like friends, like, I don't know, we love each other, we must love each other.
They told me that they were also present for the installation mass of the new bishop. They travelled 5 hours in a bus to attend it and 5 hours to come back.
Because it's my favorite religion too. I love Christianity too.
You love Christianity?
Yeah, yes. Of course.
What is it that you like about it?
They are peaceful. Yes. That's why I like peaceful.
And what would happen, do you think, if one of your friends converted from Islam to Christianity?
It's cool. I don't judge him.
His choice.
His choice.
His life. Yeah. I don't gonna judge him.
Yeah.
God is gonna judge the people.
Yeah. God will judge all of us.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was curious to find out what would make someone who is Muslim in a Muslim country and Muslim environment become a Christian or even interested in Christianity in the first place. Then Bishop Carrero makes an interesting observation, saying that many of them come after having a dream of some sort.
They come to us because they made a dream entering their heart through dreams or other things. For some of them, this first mystical contact or spiritual contact with the Christianity that is independent from us, that we are here, so strong at that point that some of them at the end of they want to become Christian even though it is difficult, even though they know all the challenges, but they want to. And so somehow it's God that are speaking directly to their hearts.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, and from myself that is, Italian, is also strange because it's not my experience.
What do you find most difficult about the work that you do here?
Sometimes it's freedom, personal freedom. Maybe that from my point of view is something that is difficult to carry.
You mean the freedom of being able to travel freely on your own from one city to another?
Yes. Somehow, yes. We can say that is from that point of view.
What do you find the most rewarding and the most beautiful part of ministering here in Algeria?
Maybe gratuity, because once again, we are not here in order to convert person. We are not here in order to become bigger, but we are here in order to love the others, to fulfill our vocation to be a small group of Christians in a country that is majority Muslim. And so gratuity is part of our mission.
Back up at the statue of Our Lady of Santa Cruz overlooking the city, I meet Anna, an Italian who is a lay consecrated woman, living here in Oran and helping to look after the upkeep of the sanctuary.
I arrived here during the renovation of the chapel, so I had the big pleasure to work for the renovation with the Algerian artist, and this was one of the most beautiful and rich experience in my life. So it's one of the reasons that I choose to stay in Algeria, and it's one of the reasons that I'm still working here as a tourist guide and as responsible for the sanctuary.
The sanctuary of Our Lady of Santa Cruz began as a small chapel built in 1850 by the French authorities after a devastating cholera epidemic in 1847, when the faithful prayed to the Virgin Mary for relief. And over the following decades, the site was expanded. A bell tower and statue were added in the 1870s, and beginning in 1950, a larger basilica and cloister were constructed, with a new church completed in 1959.
Many people may be surprised that even today in a Muslim majority country, Our Lady is still allowed to stand so tall looking over the entire city.
Yeah, it's surprising, but it's like this. Algerian people loves this place, and that's why it's still here.
What is special about this place for you?
It's a place of peace. So you can feel like the city is so crowded and so on. Here it's really, you can breathe, and it's a place for everybody, the families and women and so.
When Muslims come and you meet them and you talk to them, what's their interpretation of Mary, or what do they know about her?
When I welcome people here, usually we don't speak religion. There are no questions about Mary or something like this. We speak about our daily life. What do you like in Algeria, why you are here, or why this place is important. But I mean, it's our humanity that makes us together, not theological questions.
Anna spoke about this place being important not just to Catholics and Christians here in Algeria, but to all Algerians, a place of peace and hope. And you've heard referenced a number of times in this programme, the violence, terrorism, and what was called the Dark Decade. It was the 1990s and Algeria was being torn apart. The conflict began after the army cancelled elections that an Islamist party was set to win, triggering an armed insurgency by extremist groups against the state. Civilians were the main victims. Entire villages were wiped out, journalists were assassinated, intellectuals, artists, priests, imams. Somewhere between 150 and 200,000 people were killed. This has left deep psychological scars in Algerian society, which is why the period is remembered not just as violent, but profoundly dark and painful. And the Bishop of Oran wasn't the only Catholic who lost his life at the time. Other religious did too. And in the capital Algiers, I meet with Sister Lourdes Migueles. She is an Augustinian sister from Spain who arrived in Algeria to do hospital work.
At first it was hard because I understood absolutely nothing. I didn't understand Arabic and I didn't understand French. I didn't know Algeria at all. But little by little, I discovered what a vast country Algeria is, and I loved it.
When the violence broke out, even though they were encouraged to leave, Lourdes and the sisters thought they were safe because the work they were doing was non-political. They were simply serving in the hospitals and caring for those in need. Then in May of 1994, 2 priests were killed in Algiers, and the sisters realized they were not safe either.
That's when the embassies wanted us to leave the country, but we didn't want to. We said, we will stay here with the Algerian people. They welcomed us when everything was going well. Now that they were suffering, we couldn't abandon those we love.
On ne peut pas abandonner quelqu'un qu'on aime. Et on a voulu rester avec l'Église aussi, parce que l'Église il a été très diminuée.
And we wanted to stay with the church as well, because the church had been greatly diminished. We said, we cannot abandon it. We cannot abandon the church at that moment. We knew the risk. We accepted the risk of death.
On était... Ça pourrait nous arriver.
And here, in the small chapel of their convent, Lourdes remembers that day, October the 23rd, when she and 3 other sisters were walking back from the hospital.
C'est comme aujourd'hui, c'était juste aujourd'hui à 6 heures de l'après-midi aussi.
It was like today, at 6 in the evening. We had worked all day at the hospital. It was World Mission Sunday. And when we arrived, we were laughing. But at the same time, we had been warned to be careful. And when we were about to leave, I said, we're not going to go out all together. We'll go out 2 by 2.
On va sortir deux, si on tue à 2, qu'on ne tue pas les 4.
So the others went ahead, and the provincial superior and I walked behind. And when we arrived at the community door, where we were going to celebrate the Eucharist, we heard gunshots.
Et tout d'un coup, les gens, ils nous ont dit partez, partez, partez. Ils sont tirés sur 2 étrangères.
People were shouting, run, run. They shot 2 foreigners. I said, it's our sisters. Then they shouted, they shot Katie and Esther.
Ils sont tirés sur Katie et Esther.
The 2 sisters that were walking ahead of them, Sister Caridad Alvarez and Sister Esther Paniagua, were both shot and killed, and the gunmen fled. Today, Sister Lourdes still lives and works in Algiers, where she runs a small community that helps women and children.
Je veux retourner, de construire quelque chose de beau, là où on avait été, la mort et tout ça.
I wanted to return to build something beautiful. Where there had been death, life had to be given. That is why we are here now, for the children, for the after-school support, for helping women. This is a place of welcome, a place to build something beautiful together. And that's my wish for everyone, truly, that we all may live in peace.
Alors c'est pour ça que je vous souhaite à tout le monde vraiment qu'on puisse vivre en paix.
The capital of Algeria, Algiers, is a striking city where Africa and the Mediterranean meet, rising in white terraces above the sea. It is known as Algiers le Blanche, Algiers the White, because of the white lime wash used to coat buildings to reflect the heat. Its old town is a web of winding alleys, an area known as the Kasbah. But the city also boasts stunning gardens and a modern feel to its centre. As the political, cultural and economic heart of the country, Algiers has long been a crossroads of empires and ideas, from Ottoman rule to French colonisation and the struggle for independence.
Finally, our journey across Algeria has brought us here to the capital, Algiers. At the moment, I'm standing in the centre of the old French district, where all around us you can see marks of the influence of Christianity.
Earlier in the programme, we spoke about those who converted from Islam to Christianity and how they are reluctant to talk on camera. Karim Kakar is 30 years old and from Annaba, the city where we started our journey. He's been one of our local guides for this entire production, helping out with logistics and translations. But he is also one of the rare people in Algeria who was a Muslim and became a Christian. And even rarer is that he is willing to talk about his conversion on camera. We sit down for a coffee at the end of our day of shooting, where he tells me more about his story.
When did you first become aware and interested in Christianity?
Actually, at the age of 7 years, when I was a child, I'm starting going to the church because I'm living not far from the church. I feel like in peace, or feel like I find myself in this place. It's at the age of 18, I started studying catechumena, catechism, with a priest for 3 or 4 years, maybe more, until at the age of 21, I was baptized in Tunisia, yeah, but as a Protestant.
As a Protestant?
Yeah.
When you told your family and your friends that you were leaving Islam and becoming a Christian, what was their reaction?
Yeah, for me it was not wise. Here you should be maybe hide. You should hide your belief and.
You should hide the fact that you're a convert.
Yeah. In reality, you can go to the church, pray, and live your life, but it will be wise to still in hidden. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I'm starting speaking to person in society that I'm converted, I'm Christian, and that make problems at school, especially at university.
Karim says his parents disapproved of his conversion, as they believed being a Christian would make him a worse person in terms of how he lived his life.
I guess especially from my family, they don't have idea about Christianity. They're just from Hollywood films, or like they saw American on TV, they drink alcohol, they do sex with any woman find in the street, and they stole, they do that. They think that their child, they educate their child to be a good man, and after he converted to be Christian, they think that he will be something like he will be like in Hollywood. And I started with my family to explain to them that's not true, that's not the way. Christian, that means person who have values, the Christian persons to like Muslim, believe in God and they respect like Muslim.
Was it difficult?
Yes, it was difficult, especially for them. For me, I guess I have a strong personality. I stay up and they continue, but for them it was like
a tragedy. They thought it was a tragedy. Wow.
Yeah.
And how is your your relationship today with them?
Oh, my father is dead from 4 months ago. My mother, she's still alive. I love my mother, she loves me. We live in peace today. Until with my father in his last years, yes. We lived in peace. Yeah, he accepted me and I accept him.
Do you ever regret becoming a Christian, becoming a Catholic?
No, I cannot regret. It's a grace from God. I cannot refuse the grace of God. Yeah, I received the gift from God. I cannot say, no, take your gift. I want to live in this grace of God. Of course, I want to live in peace. But I think the good way or the best way is to help the different, to know me. Because if he will know me clearly, that I'm not enemy, I can be his, I'm human like him, we can be friends, we can be citizen of the same country, so that's our battle, yeah.
To live out the gospel message.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that Karim said he would talk to a foreign TV channel, but not one in his home country. And I wondered what would happen if someone who was Christian wanted to publicly preach or proclaim their faith here.
Bishop, what if there was someone who was a Christian who felt, as they say, on fire for the faith and said, I want to go out and tell people about Jesus, I believe this is the true faith, and I want to tell people I meet on the street?
I will encourage people to do this through their way of life, but not through the words. I knew someone who was in jail. I visited him, and he claimed he was a Christian, and he was criticizing always Islam and the Prophet of Islam. And I told him, what are you doing? Show by your way of living the fruits of your faith. But if you are criticizing the others, I'm not sure it's really a good witness, good testimony.
Bishop Guilou goes on to make a good point, that even if Christians find it difficult to communicate their faith here in Algeria, at least there is an openness to faith and God in society at large.
You know, in Europe, maybe many people now are very secularized. Here people have the spiritual sensibility and they like to share what do they feel, what do they think in occasions of death of anything, and to share with us, and it's a great support even in my Christian faith.
Challenges you.
Yeah. Not only a challenge but a support, because we are not in a society. When you are in the street or somewhere, it's impossible to speak about religion as in France or... No, here people are happy to see that you are a believer, even if it's not... Of course, it's easier with a red passport to be a Christian.
Easier with a red passport, meaning to be a foreigner and not a local Algerian person. Well, on our last day in Algiers, it was an opportunity to look around the capital, which is truly beautiful. We are surrounded by such rich history, Christian and Muslim. And our final interviewee is Cardinal Jean-Paul Vesco. He is the most senior Catholic in the entire country. Based here in Algiers, he agreed to do an interview to talk in general terms about what it's like for the Church in Algeria.
Even if there are things difficult, of course, life is not easy. But you know, I love my life, and I was a very, very lucky Dominican, and I'm a very, very lucky man. It's very strange because when you live in Algeria, it's a tough country. You know, in this country, the more difficult things can be very easy. Can become very easy, just like that, and sometimes very simple things could become very, very tough.
For you yourself, Cardinal, what gives you strength and courage and hope in the work that you do?
I think I would say the fraternity. I need, you know, for me, I'm not the Cardinal, I'm not the Archbishop of the Christians or for the Christians. I am the Archbishop and the Cardinal for all the Algerians, and I don't want to convert them. I don't, you know, they are mostly Muslim, but then I would like that we can show to the world that we can work together, that we worship the same God, and we can be brothers and sisters.
As evening falls over Algiers, we travel to the Basilica of Notre Dame d'Afrique, the Basilica of Our Lady of Africa. It sits on a high cliff overlooking the Bay of Algiers and is one of the city's most famous and beautiful religious landmarks.
As the sun sets over the Algerian capital and the beautiful Basilica of Notre Dame d'Afrique, Our Lady of Africa, people are beginning to gather for Mass, and while yes, there will be some Catholics in there, many in the congregation will be Muslim. Christianity here in Algeria is complicated, and as you've seen in this program, often it's not easy to be a Christian here. But from traveling across this beautiful country, what I've witnessed is that the Church likes to focus on loving their neighbour, practicing tolerance, and most importantly, living in peace. Until next time, thank you so much for watching this program, and good night from Algeria.